Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Claims Tasmanians are in for a cut to services have been dismissed by the Treasurer. He's spruiking the sensible cost-saving measures in the budget as the state heads towards record debt.
The big budget sell begins.
I want to talk about how we're backing in our industries.
The Treasurer touring Tasmania and talking up his party's economic management.
When you're developing a budget, particularly in a stormy environment that we're in at the moment, we've had to carefully navigate through this and making careful and considered decisions.
Even as a multi-billion-dollar debt bill looms.
$883 million of these in the coming 4 years will go just to repaying debt. So what that means is the state will be paying more in interest than they'll be spending on building houses.
The state could be $5.6 billion in the red by 2027, raising questions over how we'll pay that off. The Treasurer says that's best done gradually.
Dramatic decisions in a budget create uncertainty and disruption.
Resisting new taxes, he's backing his efficiency dividend, aiming to find $300 million in government savings.
It's the smallest efficiency dividend in living memory. It's 60 cents out of a $100 that's provided to government departments. Now, they're spending taxpayers' money. We believe that being efficient is a virtue.
If the government really thinks that it should reduce spending, then what it should do is audit what it's doing, work out the things that are providing the least benefit and cut those.
Cutting fat and doubling debt while building a near billion-dollar stadium, also raising eyebrows.
So that concrete going to build the stadium in the next 4 years will be paid for by the wages of workers in essential services across Tasmania.
Services and infrastructure, and we can afford it, and the departments can spend money more wisely as well.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The Launceston General Hospital is again able to fully train student doctors after passing all its national accreditation requirements. For more, we're joined by reporter Victoria Eastoe. Victoria, it's 5 years since the hospital was stripped of that form of accreditation.
That's right, Kim. It's now understood trainee doctors will now be able to complete practice hours across all 8 accreditation categories. Assessors giving the green light this afternoon, impressed with the hospital's culture and quality of patient care. The LGH lost some of its emergency training accreditation in 2018 with lack of specialists blamed at the time. The hospital's chief executive, Den Gunkin, has welcomed the decision, saying it's an outstanding achievement for the region. The Premier says he's also pleased the LGH has been recognised for its cultural changes. So, Kim, some good news for health. The Premier also thanking those hardworking staff members.
Much needed good news. Thank you very much there, Victoria. Well, in a tragic turn of events, an ambulance has been smashed into while attending a fatal crash overnight at Lindisfarne. It was hit by a drunk driver. Just moments later, another motorist was detected over the limit.
Scattered sand covering the scene of Tasmania's 13th road fatality this year.
That is 13 too many.
A 26-year-old Ross man was driving in the southbound lane of the East Derwent Highway. His excessive speed picked up by police on patrol near the Risdon Hotel around 9:30 last night.
It became apparent immediately that that vehicle, through its speed, had no intention of stopping. Police immediately disengaged.
The driver crossing onto the wrong side of the road, smashing head-on into a van. Investigators are calling for anyone who witnessed a silver Holden Barina driving between Ross and Hobart last night to contact them. The Barina's driver dead at the scene. In a shock turn of events, it's alleged an intoxicated 25-year-old Risdon Vale man crashed into a parked ambulance.
Emergency service workers who are attending a critical, very traumatic scene and doing their jobs, and then put at risk by someone who chooses to drink alcohol and then drive, the behaviour is appalling.
No one was injured, but the offending didn't stop there. A 33-year-old woman then allegedly ran a red light with 2 young children on board in nearby Tranmere. She returned a reading of .219.
The female is alleged to have returned to her vehicle and driven the vehicle and was then arrested arrested again and charged with driving whilst disqualified.
Leaving police dismayed on National Fatality Free Friday. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Those in the Central Highlands have woken to a decent dusting of snow just a week out from the official beginning of winter. Locals and visitors alike spent the morning enjoying the weather as another chilly blast looms.
Waking up to an icy oasis, an overnight dumping of snow is keeping this family's fun frosty.
My dad keeps smashing snowballs on my head and then I keep falling over.
It's a special first for Sunny, who's more used to the beaches on the Sunshine Coast.
I thought it was going to be a lot colder.
First out in the fields this morning were Great Lake Hotel staff, keen to make the most of the weather.
We made a big snowman which got destroyed and a snow angel.
With winter just around the corner, more cold snaps can be expected across the state.
We do typically see vigorous west to northwesterly winds with embedded cold fronts, which bring windy conditions and also snow at times.
By lunchtime, much of the snow had started to melt, but never fear. The good news is that there's more forecast over the weekend. But if all else fails, there's a hot fire and warm cider. But drivers seeking snow are being urged to take care on potentially icy roads.
It is magical. People say that, the sun makes them happy, but for me and a lot of people that I've spoken to, the snow makes me happy.
Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
A political movement considered by many to be responsible for toppling Tony Abbott and Josh Frydenberg from their seats is eyeing off Tasmania. The Voices of campaign is looking for at least 2 independent candidates to back in the next state election when the parliament expands to 35 seats.
They are socially progressive, they're environmentally sensible, and they are all about gender equality and actually having a really prosperous but sensible state.
18% of Tasmanians stated they intended to vote for an independent in this week's EMRS opinion poll. The man spearheading the university's controversial move into Hobart's CBD is set to advise the federal government on urban policy. Vice-Chancellor Rufus Black has been named as one of 13 people to join the Urban Policy Forum, which was announced in the recent federal budget. The new committee has been formed to recommend new policies in areas such as sustainable development, climate change adaptation and livability. Young Tasmanians looking to pick up a putter and enjoy a hit of golf now have an affordable way to do so. 4 clubs across the state have signed up to an initiative which has slashed the cost of a round for juniors.
Getting Tasmanian youth into the swing of an ancient sport. St Aloysius College students are teeing off in a 4-week course introducing them to golf.
Hitting the ball and then do some chipping and putting shots. Into week 2, play some games on getting a score behind the shot and result, and then head out in the golf course.
It's an interesting game, but can sometimes be challenging, but relaxing.
Just being able to hit it perfect, that's probably the best part.
Hopefully finding a passion for the sport, Golf Australia is pitching in to help them. Its teammates program slicing the cost of a round to $5 or less for kids.
Golf's a game for all ages and all genders. You can play golf on a course, on a driving range, indoor golf, mini golf, all golf is golf.
Kingston Beach, Mowbray, Claremont and the Devonport Country Club have all signed on. The sport looking to shake its image as a stuffy and expensive hobby.
You can play some golf courses for under $20. You can get equipment, you can hire equipment at a cheap rate, so it really is a very affordable sport. It's not as expensive as you might think.
Do you think you'll be playing long into the future now?
Yeah, probably.
A recent survey found participation numbers in Tasmania jumped by more than 7% over 12 months. Organisers are hoping by getting more juniors involved, golf clubs can play on into the future. Oh, get there. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
The streets of Launceston have taken on a whole new meaning, with the local urban sketching group opening their first exhibition at QV Mag. It's as the northern city's popularity has been recognised on the national stage.
Putting the town on display, celebrating a rich history.
A lot of people have commented on Launceston having kept a lot of its facades, and there are so many built details in Launceston.
Since forming in 2016, the Launceston Urban Sketchers Group has grown from 4 founding members to almost 240 today. From colourful creations to black and white sketches, the members putting their own twist on the world around them.
It is amazing to see what things that people notice that I might not have noticed.
The local artistic community penciling into a global movement, adding the final touches ahead of their grand opening.
These will be scenes that will be familiar to anyone who comes to see this show because they live here or they work here or they travel through here. But they may not have seen it like this.
And it's no wonder the budding artists have picked Launceston as their muse, with Launceston Central City recently taking out 3 top gongs at the Main Street Australia Awards.
It's just so exciting for our city. I think it just really confirms what we've always known here in Launceston, and that's that we punch above our weight.
Launceston and Tassie, it's a really cool place to be. We're right on this tipping point of just about to take off to being our next best self.
The quest for national glory not over yet, the city setting their sights on new heights.
The sky's the limit.
Victoria East 07, Tasmania News.
Ambulance Tasmania has joined with 2 Tasmanian teenagers on their quest to raise vital funds for cystic fibrosis. The skating duo is well on the way to completing a photo challenge in 65 iconic locations across the state's capital.
Shredding for a good cause and one close to their heart. Charlotte Leopard, who lives with cystic fibrosis, and her best friend Zaylee Jackson are taking to the board to raise awareness about the disease.
It can be hard because I have to have tablets whenever I eat, and I have to have nebulizers twice a day, every day.
They're capturing their tricks through 65 pictures at 65 Hobart sites.
We've both been skating for about 2.5 years. And some of the tricks that we've been doing are like ollies, bonelesses.
Stopping by the city's ambulance station for the VIP treatment and a quick snap.
Any increased awareness and fundraising for research and scientific advances to try and identify a cure are absolutely crucial.
With the dynamic duo nearing the end of the feat and rolling their way to a $20,000 goal.
We're really lucky to have supportive family to help us, and there's a few, there's many people that don't have that and really rely on the support of Cystic Fibrosis Tasmania to help them through.
The girls are no strangers to a good challenge. Last year they participated in a skate-a-thon, which saw them ride for 650 minutes straight. That's almost 11 hours on the board.
It's been really fun, but it's tiring too.
Tearing it up to spread the word far and wide. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News. Some of the state's top female footballers have made the cut for the Tasmanian women's squad. The list has been unveiled ahead of their clash against Queensland in July. It will be the first time since 2016 the side has suited up in the competition.
TFA looking to clear this
to be able to wear the map of something where people, carry a lot of pride with. It's such an opportunity for these young girls to be able to run out into North Hobart Oval and give it their best and to play the football to their highest ability.
The lineup will need to be trimmed back before they take to the field, with the final side to be confirmed leading into the match. Tasmanian Nathan Earl has taken pole position in the Tour of Japan after a blistering ride up Mount Fuji. The Hobart-born cyclist took just over 40 minutes to complete the Stage 6 climb. The defending champion is 47 seconds ahead of the pack. Fellow Tasmanian Liam Johnson is sitting in 9th overall, but is leading the youth competition. In the NPL, Riverside Olympic are hoping the lure of a local derby will ignite their season. Olympic have won just 1 NPL game in 2023 and were also dumped out of the Lacca Seljack Cup by the Southern Championships Hobart United. Facing old foes Launceston City this weekend, their coaches looking for a response.
The lads are fired up. We are keen to win this game. We are not going there just to make presents. We're going there to win it.
In the WSL, Launceston United are backing their defensive structure to hold off Clarence Zebras. United have been stingy on the field this season, conceding just 9 goals in 7 matches.
Short but directional communication about where we need to cover, which players are going where, who's going to do what in that moment. I think that's really helped us.
Kick-off in that match is at 4:15 tomorrow afternoon. And after West Coast's 116-point mauling in Launceston last weekend, we've gone back through the record books to find the last time there was a game so one-sided at York Park. As it turns out, Fremantle lost by exactly the same margin to the Hawks in 2010. So we're taking a look for tonight's Friday flashback.
On the same day, Australians voted in the closest election in recent times.
Endorse a positive plan.
We'll stop the boats.
The tightest in the last 50 years, I'd imagine.
A heavily depleted Fremantle was set to endure the most one-sided contest in York Park's AFL history.
Ideally, a lot of those players, the 7 players that have been left out, probably have carried some injuries that certainly could have missed over the last 3 or 4 weeks anyway.
With Matthew Padlich and Stephen Hill among the 7 outs, Freo really was given the old heave-ho.
The first one was easy, and so's that.
Hawthorn kicked the first 9, 4 of which came off Buddy's boot. It took until halfway through the second for Michael Johnson to register Freo's first major. It was only a brief blip on a dismal day for the Dockers.
What a goal by Rioli! Only he can do that! Magnificent stuff!
Buddy ended up with 5, Jared Ruffhead 4 for what's now the equal record margin at York Park. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. Hobart, Launceston and Devonport, 15 degrees today. Burnie reached 14. St Helens also on the high of 15 as temperatures dip below average. 14 too was a common number around the state. However, Strawn managed just 12 and Lyawini a range of -2 to a high of 6. Cradle Valley the best rainfall 9 to 3 with 16 millimetres as the west found the heavier cloud cover. On the bigger picture, there's an area of cloud with embedded thunderstorms over eastern New South Wales and some coastal cover over southern parts of the mainland. A cold front approaches Tasmania tomorrow as a high over WA extends a ridge over most of the mainland. West and northwesterlies will build ahead of that front at 20 to 30 knots, but to 35 knots over the west and to 40 knots over southern waters with a 6-metre swell. So we do have a gale warning from Tasman Island around to Sandy Cape, a strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters. Forecast for tomorrow. Top of 16 in Hobart, 60% chance of a late shower. Medina showers increasing, 12 the high. Launceston a shower or 2, 15. Same for Devonport. Lyawini 0 overnight, a top of 8 tomorrow. Burnie showers increasing, 14. Showers for Strawn, 14 and 15 the high for Marrawar. And along the east coast, 16 for St Helens and Swansea. Bit of cloud about, Orford the same, 16 as well. On Sunday, possible showers over the east and probable showers elsewhere as the fresh northwesterlies continue. A messy day on Monday, snow to 700 metres, showers and small hail over the central, west and south along with the Bass Strait Islands. Winds turning colder southwesterly and cloudy over the east on Tuesday. A few showers for the rest of the state. Sunny in Perth tomorrow, but just 19 degrees. Showers for Adelaide, a cloudy 15 in Melbourne, -4 in Canberra, ahead of a sunny 13. Sunny as well for Sydney and Brisbane. Mostly cloudy over Hobart. Currently it's 11 degrees. 9 in Launceston, clear in Devonport and 10. And Kim, exciting times ahead. We're 1 week away from winter.
Oh, can't wait. Thanks, Murph. And that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us and good night.